or someone who just got hit by a car, flew 20 feet, landed head first with a bike on top of them. But that was actually, again, that was part of my healing process. And
Oh
February
my,
19th of this year was when it happened, and the world shut down. I couldn't have a doctor or nothing, or physiotherapy or massage therapist or nothing. I had like absolutely nothing through that. So I had to go back to my roots of really like doing what I teach everybody, which is how to heal yourself, how to actually shift your DNA, how to actually heal yourself with different herbs and medicines and like everything. So I was quite literally practicing what I preached to everybody for so long because I had to. The whole world shut down and I had to heal myself. I had no choice. I came up here onto Alert Bay, which is a tiny little island. It's 3 miles long, 1 mile wide. I got quarantined for 2.5 months. I wasn't allowed to leave the island. And then I actually went and I jumped in the ocean, and that was how I got rid of all the pain and all the swelling and the concussion and everything else. So, well, I didn't quite get rid of it, but I definitely made it way, way less than what it was. That I couldn't even move. It was so painful. Couldn't even move around because it hurt to move because my whole body was in shock from getting hit by a car, right? So jumping into the ocean, I took like some of my native teachings, which the natives up here, they actually use cold for healing, right? Most white people, they think, oh, native sweat lodge, right? First thing they think of when they think of a native. No, 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 no. There was not a sweat lodge here, ever. We use the cold for healing, right? We jumped into the ocean. We use the cold for healing, and it does a fantastic job. There's a glacier-fed lake and river right across the way from us. It's all coming from like glaciers. That's what they use the cold. So I use all that, and I use some stretches, some meditations, some diet plans because I know a lot about the body. And I actually, at first, as soon as I found out the world was shutting down, I did 5-day water only fast, which got my body ready to clean out all the junk out of it, and I created some stem cells within my own body to start healing it. Right? And then I did some neuro linguistic programming because I had to overcome PTSD a little bit after this accident. I was tensing, my whole body would tense up. After a car would go by, I'd be like, ugh! And I was like, oh, damn, now I got to deal with this. Oh, and it took me a little while to actually deal with it. But I got rid of the tensing response from being knowing how to do neuro linguistic programming. Right? And if I didn't know how to do that, I might still be tensing up or every time a car came behind me. So there's a lot of different responses that we have that happen within our body, within our mind, the physiological responses based on things that happen to us, right? And it's fun to be able to play with those things.
mm,
Like last Christmas, I decided that I was going to play with, I wasn't going to drink anything. I was going to remove the inspiration to even have a drink. So what I did was I actually completely deleted the enjoyment of alcohol from my subconscious experience. Right? I started to associate it with something negative. I started to associate it with being hungover and being sick and being, like dead, like all my family and everything else, and all that energy that was there. And I went out to one Christmas party in Victoria, and then I got invited to 6 Christmas parties before Christmas had even started. And due to the nature of what I do, people were like, "Oh, hey, you need to come over here." So I was going to 6 different Christmas parties. Everybody was, a lot of people were drinking and everything else. I didn't touch a single drop. I didn't even have a desire to. I didn't even want to. I mean, I let people do their own thing, but I had no desire to. And I felt great.
there's so many different ways to look at that, look at thoughts and addiction, and what are we in control of, and what's controlling us. And there's, yeah, again, you brought up so many good points. I've just did a 36-hour fast 2 weeks ago and a 36-hour fast the week before, and amazing. It increases your human growth hormone for men 2,000%. Why I want to tie that in is to say it's that self-mastery, that kind of level. They said that there's a quote, I can't remember who it's from, saying whoever learns to control their hunger is like a really big, point of self-mastery, right? When you can control that desire to eat. And ever since those fasts, I choose when I eat. I don't have to eat.
One thing I noticed is when you remove something, because something that we do within NLP is we acknowledge that whatever habit, addiction, or anything else, or whatever it is, served a purpose. It served a purpose. It does. It always, always, always serves a purpose. Like smoking. You have a smoke, you unwind, you relax. Drinking. You have a drink, you unwind, you relax. And But when you take those out of the equation, all of a sudden you're not unwinding and relaxing. And so you got
Yes.
to find another way to unwind and relax.
Yes. Yeah.
And like I figured that out pretty early on in the game when I
Yeah, but
started.
that's exactly. They say that nature abhors a void, so nature will always fill it in. And I just want to tie that into what you said before earlier when you were talking about, which was really great about saying, those affirmative affirmations or affirmative things to yourself. And I did a video called "Pets Over Ants: Positive, Empowering Thoughts Over Automatic Negative Thoughts." So if you don't put the positive, your mind would just fills in the negative. It just because it can't be a void, there can't be nothing. So, like you're saying, there was a good friend of
Yeah,
mine, and he quit smoking, and he plays guitar instead. So after dinner, instead of going for a cig, he just been playing guitar, and he's been getting great at guitar. So fill that,
mm,
right? That
yeah, exactly.
addictions can be good addictions or bad addictions, right? So I think finding healthy addictions, like we're habitual creatures. Back to kind of what you were talking about, ship, right? So
Strategies, habits. Yeah,
yeah, so those habits, when you start making those habits, they just become habits. So now instead of having, let's say a little bit, and I don't have this often, but I would have like, let's say some chips with dip. So instead of chips, I just replace them with carrots or cucumbers, right? I still have the dip, which is the greatest thing for you, but and now it's just carrots. But it's just that's what I do now. So it just became an easy thing to flip, right? Small adjustment.
yes.
Bad habits are basically like little evil elementals or like smoke, smoke, smoke or whatever, right? Trying to tie this into another conversation we had just before is the social media, which like pick up your phone, get that like, get that thumbs up, like, and which again, it releases those endorphins and those chemicals into your brain. So what kind of, that's another form, social media is another form of addiction, right?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. One of the points. For me, I use it to make a living. And I actually talk to people on social media, and I get paid to be me, right? And I get paid to talk to people, like meeting you and meeting a bunch of different various people. So for me, it's more like my business, it's my work. It was a little bit of an extra first, but then I decided, well, like I'm already talking to all these people anyways, and I started taking on clients all over the world. I found out that there were places in the world that I had no idea there even were until I started working with people.
I heard you say this on a video, and it's an analogy I love to use myself as the hammer, right? It's what you use it for, right? So you're
Yeah,
using social media and these platforms, like I'm doing, you're doing your thing, I'm doing my thing, is to help people and to awaken people and make them be kinder to each other, more empathetic, live with less suffering, live in higher vibration, choose love over fear when making decisions. That's what I'm using it for. And you're using it for, as you're saying with the hammer analogy, you're using it to construct, to build homes, to build amazing things, to build relationships, to build
yeah,
people's strength. And that's an amazing way to use it. And that's good. But unfortunately, that hammer is also, can be used the other way, right? To just smash things and destroy stuff. And there's, so everything has two sides. And actually, let's, as I want you to tell that story because it's just amazing the way you tell it, is the wolf, if you don't mind telling the wolf story, because of the yin and yang and that kind of two sides. Everything has two sides to it.
yeah, absolutely. Everything does, like every being, every person, everything. And yeah, there's like the story, like you actually heard in there. There's the actual original story of it was that the new age story is, oh, there's the white wolf and the black wolf, and whichever one you feed wins. And I said they leave it at that. That's it. They don't tell you anything else. But the real story of it started with a young man going to ask his, like a young Cherokee man going to ask his grandfather, and he asked, Grandpa, what does this mean? Like, going on within me? What's happening? Like, I feel all these feelings of it's good and it's bad, and it's just like I want to hurt somebody and I want to love somebody, and I don't know what to do with it. The grandfather started mentioning, he's like, within each of us, there is a black wolf and a white wolf. Each of them is a part of us, and each of them has their own place within our life, within our existence, and we need to feed and nurture each one of them because both of them have a place and a purpose. The white wolf is full of love and compassion and caring and ambition and all the good things that you would imagine a white loving light to be like. And the black wolf, it's more about protection. It's more about fighting. It's more about not taking shit from people. It's about fighting for your rights, fighting for your standing in the ground, and actually having the courage to just be like, huh, no, you're not going to take me down. Kind of like that thing about saying you'll form your own opinion of yourself and don't let anybody else tell you any of that stuff. That's what the black wolf is about. And if you feed one wolf or the other more, the other one's going to come back with a vengeance, and it's going to come back and it's going to come back with a huge vengeance, like it's going to be starving, and it's still going to be a part of you no matter what. But if you starve it out, it's going to come back with a vengeance at some point, and it's going to just snap out of desperation for survival because it is a part of you. So it's best to nurture both parts of yourself because they're both going to be needed at certain times in your life. Certain times in your life, you might need to protect your family. You know, I think that's the problem with a lot of people nowadays is they nurture only the white wolf. They don't nurture the black wolf. They don't acknowledge their shadow self. They don't acknowledge the fact that that's a part of them that they need to basically nurture, they need to take care of because it is a part of them as much as the white part. It's not all about, hey, let's make peace, you know. Sometimes you got to fight too. Sometimes you got to know when to fight.
Yeah. Okay. Nice, man. Thanks. Yeah, I completely agree. It has to be. There's always going to be, yeah, the yin and yang. There's always going to be a bit of one and the other, and then it's the world of this. It's true in this world, right? This is the world of opposites. There has to be one to be the other, male, female, dark, light, up, down. There has to be one to be the other. Maybe that could be true. The white wolf can only exist in another realm, but not in Earth realm, right? Or in our 3D existence world. That's always going to have both of it. And then the one thing I like too, and I think I've heard you mention this, is that, or from one of your posts, and I always think of that, is that an entirely dark room, it takes just one match, right? Just a little bit of light, and that darkness is, gone, right? Now you can actually see in that room and how powerful the light is.
Yeah.
You have such a huge amount of tools that you use to help people. I was wondering if you could just share maybe one tool that people could use or focus on that could help them.
There's like literally thousands of different little tools in which you could use. But one of them that I like to do to kind of explain a little bit about what NLP is and to help you forgive some people and kind of let go of some energies that might be existing in there. And to really kind of show kind of a little bit about what NLP is. Because I could go on till I'm blue in the face explaining to you what NLP is, but you would never really grasp it unless I show it to you. Right. So I'm going to do this one little exercise, and this exercise I mix and match with a bunch of different things. So but this particular exercise, it's going to be visualizing a person that you don't like, and then a person that you do like, opening and closing your eyes a couple times, having sort of like a graph, graph paper, sort of like little graphs all over the place, and placing one of them down low, placing one of them up high. And then I'm going to kind of show you with the power of that, with this, and it leads to a visualization. So just, what you do is just close your eyes. Closing your eyes, just imagining somebody that you really don't like, somebody that makes you feel uncomfortable, uneasy, maybe a little bit kind of clenched up in your heart center, and you're just like, oh, like you just kind of avoid that person so that you don't like it. As you're visioning that person, thinking about that person, imagine the feelings, imagining the colors, if there's any colors, noticing the sounds, if there's any sounds. Go ahead and open your eyes. Close your eyes. Now imagining a graph, this is called breaking state, imagining a graph in front of your face. Go ahead and reach out, imagine yourself grabbing them and place them somewhere on that graph, probably down on the very bottom, far bottom corner, because you don't think very highly of them. So go ahead and throw them on the bottom corner of that graph. Open your eyes. Close your eyes. Now I want you to imagine somebody that you absolutely love and adore to death. Somebody that you think the world of, somebody that just makes your heart sing when you think of them, somebody that makes you feel amazing, whether it be in love, whether it be you feel loved, you feel appreciated, you feel like they are just amazing in every way. Noticing the colors that are associated with them, the sounds that are associated with them, and the feelings that are associated with them. Opening your eyes, closing your eyes. Now imagine grabbing a hold of them and placing them somewhere on that graph too, probably in the opposite corner, on the top far opposite corner of the other person. So go ahead and place them in the top far opposite corner of the other person. And open your eyes. Close your eyes. Now imagining yourself reaching out and grabbing a hold of the person down below at the very bottom corner of thing, just grabbing a hold of them and slowly starting to move them up and over towards the other corner. You slowly start to move them up. You actually feel a little bit of the energies kind of mixing, moving, twisting, turning, coming closer, getting to know one another. All of a sudden, the head's touching the toe. You can feel it coming through. You're still moving it up until the head's touching the waist, moving it up and up and up till it's into place, and their energies are the same. And as you move them into place and make them of the same energy, they barter and they reckon with one another and they become one. And whenever you're ready, you can open your eyes. Now, how do you feel about that person?
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, I could see the energies. Well, one, now it's not separate. The emotion is high emotion, high vibrational emotions.
Exactly. See that one? That is something that I work with people is called forgiveness. That's one exercise I do for forgiveness, which is a really, really, really important one for people to do. Really important for people to do.
Yes.
To forgive others, because if we're holding on to that negative vibration towards anybody, towards anything, it's going to come back at us because we're feeling and we're thinking and we're vibrating on that frequency. So forgiveness, they may not deserve to be forgiven, but you deserve to be healthy. Forgiveness is not about them. Forgiveness is about you. If you hold on to the bitterness and everything else, it's like drinking a cup of poison and hoping someone else dies from it. Yeah, probably heard that saying before.
I did. It's a great quote. It's the best way to put it. It's a great quote. I know that they did a study too on monks and their different mentality, and the biggest difference they said from a monk that meditates for many years and somebody, the average person, was forgiveness, their capacity for forgiveness, that part in their brain and how they studied it, it was for forgiveness. And I remember seeing, to the impact it has. So I talk a lot about that of forgiving. I split it into two: is forgiving others and forgiving yourself. Sometimes I think it's difficult as well. It's very challenging to forgive yourself for certain things, for certain actions or certain things, can be equally challenging.
It can be. It can be. Yeah, it's absolutely right. Sometimes we go through different things within our lives and we think, we did this or that, and we could just go on forever about what we think about ourselves. But really, the truth is that we have to actually be kind to ourselves. We actually have to love ourselves. And the number one rule is to believe in ourselves and to feel good as often as we can. Because in believing in ourselves and feeling good as often as we can, we're bringing ourselves to the next level, right? With the thoughts and the feelings of feeling good and believing in ourselves, we all of a sudden believe that we're worthy of that love. We believe that we're worthy of that job. We believe we're worthy of that raise. And if you don't believe that you're worthy, you never go after it.
Absolutely. Well said. So listen, Brady, I don't want to take too much more of your time. There's a million more questions I have, so I'll save that maybe for another day. Is there anything else you wanted to something maybe people don't often ask you that you wanted to share with the audience?
Let me think. There's a lot of things that I could share, to be honest with you. There's so much different things in so little time. Usually, I really like to teach people about their own innate ability to really take control of their life. You know, I think that's probably one of the biggest things that people don't actually realize is how much of that power we actually have, and they go ahead and they give away all the power to everybody else.
Nice. It's true.
I think that that exercise that I gave you there about the forgiveness thing, it's probably one of the biggest exercises to really getting rid of some of the negative energy around everything. Because if you can let go of that stuff and not hold on to that energy, you're not going to attract more of it.
Mm.
For instance, we all know at least one person that fits this example of they hate the opposite sex. And they list off all the reasons why they hate the opposite sex. And then they'll find somebody who's the perfect partner. They're so sweet and everything else. And then 2 months later, they're that exact person that they just described hating.
Mm.
Right?
Yes.
And it's because they got into alignment with that energy. They aligned with coming into that relationship. And so they ended up dating same guy or same girl, just a different name in a different place. Exactly same personality, exactly the same everything. Because they kept resonating on that level of being like, I don't want to put up with men or women or get treated like this again because they're all pieces of shit and they're all this and they're all that and they're all da. And they don't realize that it's their own self-fulfilling prophecy,
Yes.
self-fulfilling journey that they're going on. And they're pulling it in again and again and again and again and again. And I know they're saying, I don't want this and I don't want that. But one of the things I teach people is like, if you're going to go out there and say, I don't want somebody who cheats, I don't want somebody who's an alcoholic, I don't want somebody who's an asshole, you're going to get somebody who cheats, who's an alcoholic, and who's an asshole.
Yeah.
Because the universe doesn't hear the donut, it just hears what you're concentrating on. And it tries to give you that.
Yes, I couldn't agree more. It's like, don't think of an elephant, right? You have to think of an elephant I completely agree. And that's why I sent you a copy of my book. And that's something that I try to tell people is I only try to use positive words and I negate positive words. So I don't try not to use any negative words at all. So I just say like unhappy is fine because you got to think of like happy, unhappy. So I try to just change my vocabulary. And I think the English language is very, very flawed.
Yeah, it is. Like that's a huge thing with NLP too. Is language is huge because the way you speak about something completely changes the whole emotion around it.
Yes.
Like people talk about their problems. This is such a huge problem. This is such a problem. Oh my God, this problem. I can't overcome this problem. Blah, blah, blah. Problem, hard. Problem, it's hard. It's problem. And so they just use the word hard and problem to describe everything that they're going through, instead of being like changing that one word problem with challenge.
Yes. Yes.
Nobody likes a problem. Everybody loves a challenge. So you change that one word, the whole entire energy around it changes.
Yes. Yes. Very cool. I completely agree. Is that perception, those small things, those small differences in the way that you look at it, that you set your mind to that thing. Like it's going to be challenging. It's going to be fun. Or you say this is going to be a tough day. It's going to be horrible or this or that. It's those differences. And you're saying it's how your self-talk, I think is so huge. Exactly. How you speak to yourself in your own mind. And, I think there's I think could be, a lot of changes on language that would, I think there's a lot of things that become normal as self-sabotage, and if we kind of change the way that we speak in our...
something, for instance, here's something that I actually use with a lot of people, because a lot of people have this little negative critical voice going on there, like, oh, you're stupid, you're an idiot, you're a moron, you can't do it, you can't do this, you can't do that, blah, 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 blah. One of the NLP tricks and techniques that I use all the time is to turn that voice into an animated voice, make it sound like Mickey Mouse. Hey, you can't do it, Pluto, and then make it sound just like Mickey Mouse, and make it sound as if Mickey Mouse is talking to you, telling you all these things, make it sound ridiculous. And just in doing that, you're now listening to a different voice and you're like, oh, I can't take this seriously.
That's awesome. That's awesome,
Yeah.
man. I love it. I love it. All right, cool, man. Listen, on that happy note, thank you so much, Brady, for taking the time, man. Really, really appreciate it. And I'll say, I saw a couple of your posts, and as the more I dug in, I could see like you're the real deal, and that's so refreshing to see, because there's a lot of people that post, repost, share, and it's one thing to know it or to read it; it's another to live it, breathe it, be
Yeah.
it. As you said, you got into your own challenges, you made it through, man. You're like living proof of it. And you walk the walk, you talk the talk, and I love it, bro. I love it. It's very
Yes.
cool. Very cool, man. So, yeah, man, listen, on that note, I wish you a successful and peaceful mind, and invite you to come back in the future 100% to do another talk.
Yeah, if everybody feels like reaching out to me, I'm Matrixology Coach on Instagram or Brady Clifton Bennett on Facebook.
Okay, yeah, I was awesome. Thanks for sharing that. I'm gonna put underneath this clip. I'm gonna put it's gonna be the tags into your website and your Facebook and your Instagram. And I'm sure that a lot of people. I mean, I want to reach out, and I'm like here, and I want to reach out after this. So I'm sure the listener will want to reach out as well and get your insight, your help. So, I mean, as I was saying, it's a journey, man, and you need people to help you. You need a coach to help you. Every great athlete, has a coach. Coaches, several, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's always a good thing to do in any aspect of life. If you're leveling up, you're gonna need somebody who's already up there to help kind of hold the belief up there.
Absolutely.
That's the point of being.
Yeah, cool, man. Okay, bud. So listen, I wish you a terrific evening. Thanks a million. Appreciate it. We'll keep sharing those wonderful posts, and we'll talk super soon.
Yeah, it's been great.
All right, bud. Okay, ciao, man. Thanks.